just see that revision session 2. In revision session 1, we have completed chapter 1 and 2. Now in this session, we'll talk about chapter number 13 that we have taken after 17 and 18 chapter. That is India, location, geological structure and physiography first. So before starting chapter, I will tell you that it's a 2 marks questions. India has become a cultural conference is explained. Now when it asks for 2 marks, you must have to write either 4 or 3 or 4 points, or you can say more than that. We must have to be right. Why India has become a cultural conference? Explain the statement. So first one is that India has the unique positions. You can say incomparable position in the world. That is the first point. Second one is that India has the largest democracy in the world. That is the second point. Third one is that India has the coordinating attitudes to accept the all religions wholeheartedly. Third point. Fourth point, in India or in Indian culture, there isn't any impartiality towards any religion, race or people. That is the peculiar characteristics of India. And fourth point and fifth point, India is a secular nation that given equality to all religion. That is why we can say India is a cultural conference expert. Okay, so at least 5 points required for this. Understood, students? Now, if it is these questions we have completed for 2 marks, our next question is that India location, size and area. India location, size and area. Now, it may ask for 4 marks. Understood, students? So at least 10 points we must have to be required. India location, size and area. It means that 3 things we must have to be right. Understood? Location, size and area. So the 3 points, or you can say these 3 divisions, we must have to be right in detail, so you will be getting it out of full marks. So first of all, we will just see that here I will write the keywords so you can able to remember it and you can elaborate the sentence also. First one, for India is located in the northern hemisphere and India is located in the south side of Asia also, you can write, but it is the first point that we have written. Now you know that India is located in the northern hemisphere. How is it northern hemisphere? Because the equator divides the earth into 2 equal parts, northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. So India is located in the northern hemisphere. Apart from this, what is the, you can say, exact location of India? For example, if you want to find the location, so is it not possible to find the locations quickly, or you can say without any mark? For example, if you want to visit your maternal uncle's house, you must have to be remember the landmark or famous places nearby your maternal uncle's house. For example, near Amul Delhi Road, understood, Navjeevan Society, house number 4. So these are the one kind of, you can say, hint that you will be getting for your maternal uncle's house. Same way, to get the location, it's most important that we know about the nearby area. So that is why there is an imaginary line on the earth that is called latitudes and longitudes. Latitude means what? The line which runs through west to east side. It means, you can say, west to east side. It is called latitudes, and longitudes, it means that from north to south. Get it, students? Equator divides the earth into 2 equal parts, and that is why India is located in the northern hemisphere. Now we'll see that what is the exact area or location of India. So India is located in, we can say, 8 degree 4 minutes. Just see that 8 degree 4 minutes to 37 degree 6 minutes in north latitudes. Understood? Now students, you just see that north latitudes I have written. It means you must see that on when you see the map of India, you find or notice about this from the north to south. It means north to south. You find this measurement on the map of India, Indian political map. Apart from this, we can say that another one is that 68 degree 7 minutes, 68 degree 7 minutes to 97 degree 12 minutes east longitudes. East longitudes. Now student, it is the exact location of India. You will find between this only the Indian border. For example, it's a world. Okay, so north latitudes, it means from north to south, you can say. Understood? And here east longitudes, it means east longitudes. Understood? So you getting the exact location of India, this exact measurements of India. So it is locations that, or in locations also we can add one more or two more points about that. The Tropic of Cancer. The Tropic of Cancer which passes to 23 minutes, sorry, degree to 5 minutes, and it makes the two exact parts of our country. It makes the two exact parts of our country, that is called North India and South India. Now students, you just see that after writing this point, it's very easy that you must have to, here what we have written, Tropic of Cancer divides, passes by 23 degree to 5 minutes, two parts. It means it makes our country into two parts. Now we must have to write about that two parts. For example, in north, what we find? In north we find that lofty mountains, or you can say northern plains or mountainous regions. Understood? Now in south side, in south you can find that plateaus, or you can say peninsular plateaus also. So north and south, when you see the map of India, it is expanded in the north side more. While it comes toward the south, it is taper and make a triangle. Understood? So that is the exact location that we have discussed about the India. Now students, we just see that what is the exact size of India. Understood? Size also will discuss, but between that, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, Kashmir to Kanyakumari, the length is 3,214 kilometers, and from Gujarat to Arunachal Pradesh, that is 2,933 kilometers. Equally, you can say that India, when you see the map of India, it looks like the same from north to south as well as west to east. But this is the actual difference written in kilometer. Understood? Kashmir to Kanyakumari from north to south, that is 3,214 kilometers. Whereas Gujarat to Arunachal Pradesh, that is 2,933 kilometers. You must have to be remember that it may be asked for the objective portion also. Now, next point is that due to this long and vast spans, there is a difference of 2 hours between these two places. You just see that there is a 2,933 kilometers between Gujarat and Arunachal Pradesh. That is why there is a difference of 2 hours between Gujarat and Arunachal Pradesh. You notice that, for example, there is a 12 p.m. or you can say 12 noon in Gujarat. So I think so in Arunachal Pradesh there will be a 10 a.m. or 2 p.m. Understood? No, there isn't any difference. But actually the difference you notice there, for example, when the sun rise in Arunachal Pradesh, at that time still 9 in Gujarat, due to that 2 hours difference. But if you know that India is a whole country and these are two different states, so we cannot make that two different times in our country. So that is why we have decided the standard meridian of our country, that is passed by 82 degree, or you can say 83, nearby 82 or 83 minutes, and exactly 33 minutes, 82 degree to 33 minutes, and this standard meridian time exactly passed by 5 states of our country, and that is the time which is, you can say, considered as throughout our country. Understood? Now next one is that locations we have completed. Now we move size of India. Now in size you can say that India is 32.8 lakh square kilometers. Understood students? 32.8 lakh square kilometers, and due to that only area wise India stands at 7th rank. Listen carefully. Area wise India stands at 7th rank and population wise at 2nd rank after China. So here we are at the 7th rank. It means that 6 countries are larger than India. So it may ask for 2 marks or 1 marks questions. How many countries are larger than India? Name them. Understood? So you must have to remember that 6 countries are larger than India, and they are Russia, China, Brazil, Canada, USA, and Australia. So these are the 6 countries which are larger than India in area. Apart from this, we can say that Bay of Bengal is located into the east side of India. Bay of Bengal to the east side of India, and Arabian Sea to the west side of India. Even you can find that Indian Ocean to the south side of our country. Now friends, it's a 4 marks. You just see that detailed information about our country that we have mentioned. Understood? So please go on through the worksheet also, as well as listen carefully. Even you can take the help of Indian political map also, so you can easily understand about these questions. India, location, size and area. It may ask for 4 marks also. Now students, next question is that India holds a strategic location. Explain the statement. It may ask for 4 marks also. One more time, 4 marks question is there. Why the India has strategic locations? So first of all, you need to understand the word strategic location. Why? Where India is located? One more time, northern hemisphere. You can say in world northern hemisphere. And here now we understood one more, eastern hemisphere. Now you will say that, sir, in last questions you talk about northern hemisphere. Now eastern hemisphere. Yes, students. You just see over here. Now when we talk about equator divides the earth into 2 equal parts. Understood? So at that time India is located in the northern hemisphere. But now if we make it one more time, longitudes, prime meridian. Understood? So at that time it is called west and it is east. So India is located in northeast hemisphere. Get it? Clear, students? Okay. Now see that oceans have contributed immensely in developing mutual relations. You know that through the India we can reach so many countries also, because from Gujarat to West Bengal we will be having the long maritime boundaries, or you can say seashore. Through that we can reach to the many countries of the world. That is why oceans have contributed immensely in developing mutual relations. It means many countries came to India. For example, in chapter number 1 we see that Portuguese, French, Europeans, okay, Danish, so many countries, for example Britishers also, they all are coming to India for the trade purpose. So that is why oceans have contributed immensely. Now East Africa, West Asia and South Asia will be having a good trade relation with these countries. Understood? You can say East Africa, in Africa east side, West Asia, in Asia western countries will be having the trade relation, and South Asia also. Now, no country has a long maritime boundary in Indian Ocean that India has. Understood? It means that we know that India is located in the south side of Asia and will be having the long maritime boundary. For example, how many? 7,517 kilometer long boundary from Gujarat to West Bengal. This huge long boundary we have. And that is why, due to these long spans, the ocean's name is given as the Indian Oceans, because our culture, second thing is our locations, or you can say strategic locations, the Indian Ocean's name is given. Next one, between India and Europe there is a huge difference, or you can say there is a too large, or you can say it's too far from the India, the Europe is located. So due to opening of the Suez Canal, just remember the words. It is asked also for a, you can say MCQ also. Suez Canal in 1869, the distance between India and Europe is reduced up to 7,000 kilometers. Understood? It means now if you want to go Europe, so that 7,000 kilometers is reduced due to the opening of the Suez Canal. Now next one is Southeast Asia, Australia and Europe and Africa. These countries we can easily reach by the Indian Ocean. It means with the help of Indian Ocean we can reach to these countries. Now students, you just see that Circum-African waterway passed by India. It means this African waterway is also passed by India. So we can take the help of this also waterway also. And the last and next one is that Canada and USA can be reached through the same waterway. It means Malacca. Okay. Also we can reach to the same waterway. Apart from this, we can say that there's goods and ideas and the stories of Ramayana and Panchtantra. Goods and ideas are exchanged from the ancient time. We can say that goods and ideas are exchanged. Our goods and ideas are exchanged to the abroad countries. For example, non-violence, understood, and truth, or you can say peace, is the entire world has wholeheartedly accepted that things. Even the stories of Ramayana and Panchtantra are also accepted by the world. So many times we have heard from this and they have developed also. For example, so many discoveries which are invented by the Indian peoples. For example, decimal system. We can say that. Another thing is that we can say our scientists, historians, these all peoples have contributed a lot to develop our nations. Then after if we talk about that, I have written only one but 29 states. It means in Indian country we will be having 29 states and 6 union territories. And you know that the 29 states, total 29 states, small and large states are included, and 6 union territories which are ruled by the directly central government. So students, here we have completed one more 4-mark question is that India holds a strategic location. Explain the statement. So total I think so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12 points we have written. It is enough for the 4 marks question. In exam also you must have to be right about these things. Now our next topic is that neighbors of India, or you can say neighboring countries of India, that we will discuss. We all know about the neighboring countries of our country, but you remember that I have given the worksheet, and in that worksheet we talk about that our neighboring countries sharing their border with which state of India. That is the most important thing, because if you ask somebody about the neighboring countries of India, so they can easily give the answer, but when you ask about the through which state these all neighboring countries having their border, understood? So now we will move towards the next question is that neighboring countries of India. Now students, just see that our next topic is that neighboring countries of India. Now neighboring countries are Pakistan, Afghanistan, we can say that another China, Tibet, Nepal, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Maldives. So these all are neighboring countries of India. For example, Pakistan, Afghanistan is located to the northwest side of our country. China, Nepal, Bhutan and Tibet is located to the north side of our country, or Bangladesh and Myanmar is located to the east side of our country. Sri Lanka and Maldives are located to the south side of our country. So these are the neighboring countries of our India. For example, Pakistan shares its border with Gujarat, Rajasthan, Punjab, Jammu Kashmir and somehow Himachal Pradesh also. So these things you must have to remember that neighboring countries sharing their border with which states. Okay. Now total 29 states and 6 union territories are there. Students, 29 states. You remember that India has 28 states earlier. Now 29 states is you can say emerged as a Telangana. Telangana was formed from its mother state Andhra Pradesh on, you can say I think on 2nd June 2014 Telangana was separated from Andhra Pradesh. Now students, our next topic is that geological structure. may ask for 3 marks also, or maybe the names of the tectonic plates which is coming in this topic, it may ask for 2 marks also. So these many things you must have to be remember for this topic. Now the current physiography of India is the result of it, or you can say the tectonic and crustal movements of the earth. The knowledge about the interior of the earth is very interesting. The crust of the earth floats over the semi-liquid rocks. You know that the crust of the earth is floats on the semi-liquid rocks of the earth. You can say it is called asthenosphere. And here what happened? Heat is generated. What? Heat is generated. Understood? From the interior of the earth. Heat is generated from the interior of the earth, and that heat tends to surface of the earth by nearby generating the convectional currents. These upper currents breaks the upper layers which make that you can say tectonic plates. When that currents came to upper directions, so the tectonic plates breaks. So it is called lithospheric plates as well as tectonic plates. Understood? So total it may be asked for 2 marks that how many tectonic plates are there and which are they named there. Understood? So for example, total 7 tectonic plates are there. First of all, Pacific plate. Second one is you must have to remember that how to remember these 7 tectonic plates in a easiest way. So for example, first we have written Pacific plate, then north, and third one is south. You remember North American and South American plate. Understood, students? So in this way you remember the all names of the plates, but still we write after these 7 plates we will take a one logo, so remember it. Next one is that European plate and African plate. Now European and African plate. Now 6 and 7 number, which is not you have heard also sometimes, I think this word, Indo-Australian plate and Antarctic plate. Indo-Australian plate, Indo-Australian plate and Antarctic plate. Now you just say, students, these are the 7 tectonic plates. You must have to be right for it, may ask for the 2 marks questions also. Now if you want to remember these 7 tectonic plates name very easily, you just remember that to America, understood, to America, 2A, understood, it means African plate and Antarctic plate. So to America and 2A, then PEI. So that is very simple. For example, to America means North America and South American plate, 2A means African plate and Antarctic plate, and PEI it means Pacific plate, European plate and Indo-Australian plate. Understood, students? It is easiest way to remember the 7 tectonic plates name. Now we will move towards it, convergent plates and divergent plates. What is convergent plate and what is divergent plate, that we will see. Convergent and divergent. Now what is convergent and divergent plate, that we will see. Convergent plates means when the plates collide with each other, understood, it means the plates coming closer to each other, it is called convergent plates, and when the plates are going far away from each other, it is called divergent plate. For example, I will show you here. When the plates coming closer to each other and having the collision with each other, it is called convergent plates. And divergent plate is what? When the plates are going far away from each other, understood, that is called divergent plate. Due to convergent plate, the mountain building process will, due to faults and fissures, the mountain building process will emerge. It means, you know, the example of Himalaya. Okay, due to the collision of Indo-Australian plates and European plate, they were collided, and at that place there is a Tethys Sea, and out of the Tethys Sea Himalaya was emerged. Understood? For example, due to collision, for example, if I draw one arrow over here, and one arrow. If it collide with each other, it must probably that it will go up directions. It is called mountain building process. And when these two plates are going far away from each other, for example, this way, understood? So there will be a gap you need to see, understood? So due to divergent plate, so there is a process of, you can say, sea or oceans, understood, was created. So please remember this divergent and convergent also. Now students, that is the last topic of the chapter, that about Himalayan, that we have already discussed Himalayan and Tibet Sea. And Tibet Sea was broken. Now large diversity is seen in the Indian sub. Now students, we'll move towards the next chapter, chapter number 15, drainage system. In this revision session, in first part we completed chapter number 13. Now we are having chapter number 15, drainage system. Actually, what is the drainage system? You have heard this word, but when you heard this word drainage, there is another, you can say, word you will be getting in your mind. I know that about that, but actually drainage system is used for the systematic pattern of rivers. Now what is the systematic pattern of rivers? You know that there are so many small and large rivers in our countries. They will be flowing throughout our countries. Now sometimes what happens, many big rivers will be having, and the small rivers are joining to them. These are called that tributaries. Or sometimes the main river, that so many rivers are emerging from that rivers. But ultimately, finally, these all rivers are made to the ocean or sea. These all rivers are originating from mountain or mountain ranges. Understood, students? So now what is water divide? What is river basin? This word I think so you will be aware about that. Okay, water basin, it means, or you can say river basin, it means that the large volume of the river. For example, if the Ganga river is flowing, understood, so the amount of water which is available in the form of that, in that entire area, that is called river basin. Understood? Now what is water divide? For example, so many times you have seen that the river will be having in zigzag mode, or you can say will be having in the zigzag, or you can say having so many curved shape also in the rivers. So the what is water divide, that we will understood. Water divide means the students, due to the uplands, or you can say hills or some of the hilly areas, the water is divided and it turns toward the other areas. So there are so many patterns that you have already learned in this chapter: dendritic pattern, trellis pattern, rectangular pattern, and radial pattern. See, all these four patterns you have learned. Now, so our today's first question is that the Himalayan rivers, and peninsular rivers. Now, what is the difference between Himalayan rivers and peninsular rivers? So, total, you notice that in worksheet you will be getting 7 points, but when it is asked for 2 marks, you just write 4 points to each. Understood? And when it is asked for 3 marks, you write 6 points to each. So, first of all, Himalayan rivers, it means that the rivers which is emerged from the Himalayan mountain, that is called Himalayan river. Very simple, first point. Peninsular rivers means the rivers which are located into our south areas, or you can say south side. Understood? Which is mostly emerging from western Ghats and plateaus. Understood? It is called peninsular rivers. Second thing is that the Himalayan rivers will be having the large flow, where you can say large basin, whereas peninsular rivers will be having the small flow, or they will be having the, you can say, less portion also. Apart from this, that the Himalayan river is a perennial river. What is perennial river? These rivers flow throughout the year. It means in Ganga river, you notice that Ganga, Yamuna, Brahmaputra, these all rivers are flowing throughout the year. Whereas in peninsular rivers, what happens? These are seasonal rivers. These are not perennial rivers. Because, for example, Mahi, Tapi, Sabarmati, Narmada, understood? In that, what happens? The volume of the river is too less apart from the rainy season or monsoon season. For example, in Mahi, you know that the peoples are walking, or you can say growing the vegetables or having the crops without the rainy seasons. Understood? So it is the difference. For example, these rivers are long and deep. Understood? These Himalayan rivers are long and deep, whereas the peninsular rivers are, you can say, small and shallow. They are not useful for the waterway. It means here also you can write one more point. For example, from one point also you can make another point very easily. These rivers are useful for the waterway. For example, Allahabad to Haldia, Ganga river. It is the one waterway, national waterway number 1 of our country. Whereas in peninsular river, the waterway is not passable because their flow is too small and they are too shallow also. Apart from this, you can say perennial rivers are dependent on monsoon. It means rainy season. Only rainy season these rivers are full of water. The amount of volume of water is full in peninsular rivers only in monsoon seasons. Then generally next we can say that Himalayan rivers. Now we will be having the description of Himalayan rivers. Now you already get this worksheet and this chapter is divided, so we will not discuss here too much about the each and every river. But we just you can say take a length as well as from where or which by which name these rivers are knowing that we will discuss. Now students, description of Himalayan rivers. Generally in Himalayan rivers there are three major rivers, that is Sindhu river, Ganga rivers and Brahmaputra rivers. Sindhu river is emerged from the near Mansarovar in Tibet, and first it flows to the north and then turns towards the west side and then enters into the Jammu Kashmir in Leh and Ladakh area, and finally that it passing by the Pakistan and merged into the Arabian Sea. Now Jaskar, Nubra, Shok and Hunza meet her. Satluj, Bees, Ravi and Jhelum are the main tributaries of it. Now you just see that the length of Sindhu river is 2,900 kilometer. Generally you just see that Sindhu river 2,900 kilometer. Now the length of the Sindhu river is 2,900 kilometer, and in 1960 there is a treaty signed between India and Pakistan that mostly 80% of the water of the Sindhu was used by the Pakistan, whereas only 20% of its water, according to that, India can use only 20% of its water. It means generally the 80% of water of Sindhu river is used by Pakistan. Now our next is that Ganga. Now Ganga is the holiest river of our country. So many people are every year visit this Ganga river. Ganga river is the Bhagirathi and Alaknanda emerging from the Gangotri area in the Uttar Pradesh, we can say, or Himalayas emerging from each other, and Devprayag, Uttarakhand. Ganga leaves the mountainous terrains and enters the plains near Haridwar. Through the Ganga there is a constant flow of Yamuna also, and so many rivers are merging with the Ganga river. For example, Chambal and Betwa originate in peninsular plateau and meet the Yamuna. Son river meets the Ganga. Even the Ganga have the different name also. For example, Ganga is known as a Padma in Bangladesh, where is one branch entered into the Bangladesh. Then at that time the flow of that one branch is known as Padma. But when Ganga, it means you can say Ganga, Yamuna and Brahmaputra, all these three rivers merged and they were entered into a Bangladesh, and afterwards it reached to the Bay of Bengal. But this combined flow of these three rivers are known as Meghna, and it is the most important thing that you must have to be remembered. Now due to the Ganga river there is a, you can say, formation of delta that is called Sundarban Delta. It's a world largest, or you can say fertile delta in our country or world also. The Ganga river will be extended for 2,500 kilometer. 2,500 kilometer. Now students, we'll see that a third river that is called Brahmaputra river basin. Next one is Brahmaputra river basin or Brahmaputra river. It is also emerging from the, you can say, same place near the Mansarovar from where the Sindhu river is emerging. Okay. Now it's the same way that Brahmaputra, when Brahmaputra passing by Tibet, in Tibet it is known as Sangpo. When it near the Namcha Bawra, that you take a U-turn and enters into Arunachal Pradesh, and that place it was known as a, you can say, Diham. But when it entered into Andhra Pradesh and after India, then it is known as a, you can say, Brahmaputra. You didn't believe also, student, only the Brahmaputra river is having the masculine name in all the rivers. For example, you just see the name of the rivers of our country, it is having the feminine. It means related to female. Understood? For example, Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari. These all names are related, you can say, feminine. Understood? Or you can say female. Understood? Now only the Brahmaputra will be having the masculine name and pronoun, we can say. Now Brahmaputra rivers will known as Tibet, in Tibet it's known as Sangpo and Jamuna in Bangladesh. Understood? And after that, the Brahmaputra entered into the joined with the Ganga and Yamuna, and the combined flow of these three rivers is known as Meghna. Now students will move towards another topic, that is called peninsular rivers. Now in peninsular rivers, you know that so many rivers are there that are considered as the peninsular rivers. But if you remember that, first of all, what is peninsular rivers? The rivers which is majorly dependable on, you can say, rainy season. It means these rivers are not useful for waterway. They will be having small and shallow, you can say, parts. Understood? They are you can say not too much deep also. So these are some of the characteristics of the, you can say, peninsular rivers. Now first one is that in that Narmada basin. In Narmada, you know that Narmada is emerging, or you can say originated from the Amarkantak plateau, or you can say Amarkantak mountain in Madhya Pradesh, and it flows toward the westward in Rift Valley. The rocky mountain terrace marbles near Jabalpur and flow faster and slope. Duadar Falls, you must have to remember this because it may ask for the objective portion also. Duadar Fall was created in this river, or you can say flow of the Narmada. Now what is the length of Narmada that you must have to remember? The length of the Narmada is 1312 kilometer. Each and every river you must have to know about their flow, from where it is originating, from where it will be passing. Understood? What are the speciality of that river, and most important is that length. Understood? These three things you must have to be remember, because it may be asked for separately for 2 marks. Describe the Narmada river basin. Understood? Now next one, that in the peninsular rivers we will discuss about that Tapi basin. Now next one is students, Tapi basin. You know that Tapi is originating from the Satpura ranges, or you can say plateaus. Understood? Generally the Tapi is similar to Narmada because it's also having the flow towards the west side, and the length of the Tapi basin is 724 kilometer. Next one is Godavari basin. You remember, student, it may ask for 2 marks separately also. Why the Godavari is known as the Ganga of South? Because it's a longer flow, or you can say it's long flow. The Godavari is known as Ganga of South. The Godavari is you can say largest of the peninsular rivers, and the slopes of the Western Ghats, Nasik in Maharashtra. The flow of the Godavari, just see that 1465 kilometer, and this also the majority, the 50% basin of its Godavari lies in Maharashtra, and rest is in Madhya Pradesh and Arunachal Pradesh. So many rivers are joining or merging with the Godavari basin, and due to its large, or you can say huge volume, it's known as the Ganga of South. Now students, our next topic is lakes. You know that so many lakes are there in our country, and most probably the major lakes are found in our Himalayan region, and that is the freshwater lake. And I written here 2 examples. For example, Sambhar Lake in Rajasthan is a saline lake, and salt is produced from it. You must remember the Sambhar Lake, Rajasthan and saline, because all these three ask for the objective portion. Another one is that Buller Lake and it's a tectonic origin, you can say tectonic origin. Apart from this, so many other freshwater lakes are there. After that, there is a next question is that importance of lakes. Importance of lakes. Generally, the lakes are too large also. We can say the rainwater was conserved, and from that also we can say the lakes was formed. Even so many rivers are emerging from the lake only. Also we can say that the accumulated water which is stored by stored in the, you can say, multi-purpose project, that is used for the different purpose. For example, during the drought time, to control the flood, to wash away, to conserve the soil erosion, and so many uses are there. Even though for irrigation purpose, for domestic purpose, it means if we make the usage of that water resource, or you can say lake, it's too large. But you know that we have already discussed, you get in the form of worksheet also, so you can't discuss too much. Importance of lakes, in that you just write about the major points of it. For example, the lake water is useful for generating the electricity, for irrigation purpose, for entertainment, understood. So many things or usage are there. It's a very simple, understood, it's a, you can say, general knowledge type of questions. Now next one is that river pollution, or you can say maybe the last question of this chapter. River pollution. Right now what happened, river is considered as a Lok Mata, understood, because you know that from Aryans or Dravidians only we are worshipping the natural elements. So river is considered as a Lok Mata. River water we use for our domestic purpose or daily purpose also. Even during the drought seasons, the river water can be used. But nowadays what happened, the river is totally polluted. Because of the pollution, the river water is not able to provide for the irrigation facilities also. So from there also river pollution, one more question is arise that state the remedies to remove the water pollution. So which kind of remedies we can select for the water pollution? So it's a very simple question, or you can say general knowledge based questions. Write the remedies of that. First of all, you can say the project was implemented, ban on plastic, even though some simple points also we can add over here. For example, industrial units should filter the harmful contents while releasing their water into the water bodies, because what happened, due to the chemical water, the, you can say, marine life, it means animals, or you can say the peoples who are facing the problems. Even when it will be available for the irrigation purpose, that is also the most you can say creating the harmful disease to the people. So remedies in the sense steps, we need to write the steps to remove the water pollution, and you are well mature enough to write this answer. Understood, students? So we have completed in this session chapter number 13 and 15, gone through the worksheet, and you can say refer the worksheet or watch the video carefully for your answers. Thank you.